Hey guys, welcome back to another week. We're at Mac Outdoors with Mia and Lea. This week we'll be recapping a shooting event that I helped coach, as well as some more shooting tips and some tips on being outdoors. Stay tuned.
This summer, whether you're at the range or in the field, WSI Sports' Hypertech bamboo tanks, tees, and leggings will have you covered. Visit WSISports.com and use Leah's affiliate code, LLCO10, for 10% off your purchase. All products are proudly made in the USA. WSI is bringing back pride in American-made clothing. Again, that code is LLCO10 for 10% off your order at WSISports.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mac Outdoors podcast, where a dynamic mother-daughter duo share their adventures, tips, and advice. I am Mia, and I'll be accompanied by the one and only daughter, Lea. It is time to get to outdoors, hunt, shoot, and spend time with family and friends. Let's get this show on the road.
Welcome back, guys. We're so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us. If it's your first time, we're happy to have you. We hope that you will subscribe before the show is over so that you can listen to future episodes. As Lea mentioned, we're going to be talking about some shooting and some other outdoor fun stuff. But first of all, Lea, why don't you tell us about the young lady that you've been coaching and how things went?
So, they just got done shooting yesterday, and she did really well. She finished about middle of the pack, and I think there's probably close to 1,000 people.
Whoa.
So, that's a lot of people and a lot of competition. So, she finished middle of the pack, which I can't complain. That's really well. It was super windy, so she had some trouble with the standing because it was windy. Of course, it was in Wyoming, but she was super excited that she even got to go shoot and be there with all those people. So I'm really proud of her and really happy she did as well as she did.
That's super cool. And was this her first competition of that size?
Yeah, she's only ever shot at the state competition at the rodeo, which this year, there were 6 people total that shot light rifle. Last year, they said there were 17 people that shot. So going from that size to hundreds of kids is just amazing.
So after the competition, did she tell you, how did she feel before the competition and after? Did she have some stress or anxiety, or did she just decide to just go with the flow? Or how do you deal with that kind of change in competition?
So I think she was a little nervous just to be at an event that size, but she was super excited the night before the shoot just to be going and shooting. So that was really good. I think she got a little nervous towards the beginning of it because they told her she couldn't hold the mag well. She has an AR Platform 22, which I let her borrow. So she couldn't hold onto the mag well. She had to just hold under in front of that. So I think she was a little nervous because she had practiced with holding the mag well. So I think that kind of rattled her a little bit, but nothing she couldn't handle, of course, so that was good at least.
That's really good.
I think she was really pleased with how she finished. Anything's better than finishing last, of course, but to finish in the middle is not bad at all.
Well, that's super cool. And hopefully she was proud of herself and excited that she got to do that. How has the rest of the high school rodeo competition been going? Are any of her friends doing well, and how's everything going over there?
I know Team Colorado is killing it. Of course, I have to support them because I am from Colorado. So she's been messaging me about watching some of my friends from Colorado compete the past few days. So it's been kind of cool that they're like, there's someone from Durango here, and I know them and friends with them, so it's really cool to see everyone doing well. That young lady's sitting second in the world right now in cutting.
Wow.
So that's really awesome. And then there's a bull rider from Colorado that was featured on the PBR in social media and is, I think, sitting up there somewhere in the top 5 for bull riding. So that's super cool. I think Montana's doing pretty well also. I haven't heard a whole lot about that though, but it's very cool to see everyone competing and having fun and all the friends everyone's making there. So I wish I could have been there.
That's super cool. And later we're going to be talking about getting outside, but you're talking about horses since I asked you about the rodeo. Why don't you tell our listeners what cutting is, so some of them may not know what that is, and just give them a description of how that works.
So cutting is not exactly a rodeo event. It's a horse event. It's a rider and a horse with a group of cattle, and they're all numbered, and there's a judge in the arena that'll tell them that they need to cut out these 3 numbers. So they'll do them one at a time, and they'll pick that one and then cut it, basically separate it from the rest of the herd and keep it separated. The horse kind of jaunts back and forth, keeping that cow away from the herd for a certain amount of time. So they get an allotted amount of time to get these cows they cut in one round. So they have an allotted time to do all of those.
And I think it's really cool to see just how athletic those horses are. And if you ever have a chance to go watch a cutting event, it's really neat to see how the rider and the horse work together, and they can communicate just by the touch of their feet or their hand. So it's pretty cool.
Yes, it's very impressive to me also.
We have a horse that was a national high school rodeo champion for multiple years, and he's retired with us, but it's really funny, kind of like a hunting dog. When they know it's time to hunt, their whole attitude just changes. And when Lea was down visiting last winter, we were messing around in the arena roping, and since her back was sore, that was before she had any of the official diagnosis of what was going on with her back. But she just wanted to cruise around, and we put her on Colonel, and she was just going to trot across the arena. But in another area of the arena, someone had let one of the calves out of the chute, and that horse, he just his ears perked up, and he just took a sharp right and almost threw Lea off because he was like, the cow's over there. So it's really funny to watch these horses. When they know they're working. And some of them are what they call cowy, and Colonel is definitely cowy. He loves to chase cows.
Yes, no matter how old they are definitely not, he was not slowing down at all.
Yeah, so that was a fun, exhilarating experience for Lea, since she was just going straight and immediate right turn. I guess even though you were sore, you held on very well. So that was good. I'm very happy about that. So back to the shooting, you said that she had a little bit of trouble in the wind, and that's something that just takes a lot of practice, and maybe we can get some tips from our friends that do the biathlon. Maybe they can give us some tips on how to deal with the wind, if it's something you have to judge and get used to. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, in a prior episode, and we'll put a link to it, we had talked about shooting the .22 for competition. We also mentioned that we'd talk about the difference in a shotgun stance and a rifle stance. So Lea, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the differences? Because I went to an event in Wyoming where the shotgun instructor was base shooters to stand like they were shooting a rifle. So if you'll tell the difference and why you don't want to use a rifle stance for shotgun.
Yeah, so for rifle, you stand more at a T or an L shape, where you will have your feet kind of pointed. For right-handed, they'd be pointing to the right, and then you would stand with your body kind of angled, whereas shotgun, you're shooting a moving target, so you're going to want to be moving also. So you will stand more in an open stance and more like an athletic stance. For anyone that has done sports, you'll kind of be at shoulder width apart, and depending what the angle is, you'll be more open or less open. But if you stand a rifle stance, you only can pivot a certain way in a certain degree, whereas if you are more open, you can pivot a whole larger angle altogether, and you can follow through, which is so important in following a moving target.
I mean, bottom line, yeah, you've got to be able to follow that moving target with the shotgun. So I hope that some of our listeners, if you have questions, let us know. We'll give you our contact info at the end of the show. And so right now, stay tuned. We'll be right back with some outdoor fun and some tips to get outside.
Hey, this is Lloyd Bailey, the Armed Lutheran, host of the Armed Lutheran Radio podcast, reminding you that the podcast you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Check out all the great content at selfdefenseradio.net.
I've been up to a bunch of stuff, but we haven't asked what you have been up to lately, and I know you've been up to a lot of fun stuff and been very busy. So what is some fun things that you have been up to?
Well, today I've been working, which hasn't been too fun, but I've been spending a lot of time here at the house. We had a weed guy come out, and being outside is always fun, but we've been irrigating the fields a lot, trying to make some grass for the horses. And the weed guy discovered that we have some very, not just noxious, but toxic weeds that can be toxic to the livestock, the horses and the cattle, but also the humans. There's one in there that we kind of joked around, Hank and I did, that I could maybe put it in salads, and now he's not eating vegetables because it could kill a human in 20 to 30 minutes. We've been trying to get rid of those, but in between that, what you were talking about that's really exciting is I drew a limited draw archery tag. And so I've been practicing every day with my bow. We've also been trying to scout in the midst of all the farming, and that has been super fun. So for people who want to get outside, you don't just have to have a scouting trip planned to get out there. I've been out and about, and right now in the end of July, the wildflowers are blooming like crazy, and it's amazing how many flowers are out there. So that is something super cool. You can use that Trails app that Leah mentioned in a prior episode. I'll put a link in the show notes for you guys for that. If you don't know the area, you can use that Trails app and just take your camera or your cell phone and head out and try to get some pictures of those wildflowers. They're just gorgeous. And I don't know what they're like in Montana right now, Leah, but it's incredible. I don't think I've ever seen so many wildflowers going off at one time.
Yeah, well, there's not as many up here that I've seen, but I haven't gotten to get up in the hills lately. They were pretty nice a couple weeks ago when I got to go up to the mountains. That is definitely a highlight of the summer, is all those wildflowers. Another highlight that you can also do is what I'm going to be doing next week with my friends here, is I am going to go gather huckleberries in the hills. So you can find raspberries and blackberries I've seen people are gathering. And of course, there's the mushroom people, which I don't know all the goods and bads, but you can also gather those if that's something you want. So, and wild strawberries, I know I've seen a couple times too. So definitely a lot of yummy stuff out there.
That's for sure. And I was going to ask you about that because you had talked about that before. And this last scouting trip that we went on, the raspberries are going off everywhere. And so we got some wild raspberries, wild tomatoes too. We saw a couple of those. I think the bears had already attacked those. But this year, the service berries and the choke cherries are going crazy. It's, last summer we had talked a lot about bear episodes, like with interactions with bears and human and stuff like that. And this year in Colorado, the incident rate, I actually went to a sports roundtable meeting last night, and the incident rate is just plummeted. It's so low. And we actually thought it was going to be high this year because we had such drought in the beginning of summer, but it's not. And like I said, when we've been scouting, there's plenty of food up there. And actually here at our place, the acorns are huge. So the bears will have plenty to eat. And that's kind of fun too, to get out and look for wild animals. Try to keep your distance. I actually shared a picture on my Facebook page of a marmot that we were riding on the trail on the horse, and this marmot was, I don't know, about 15 yards away, and he just stayed there and watched. Usually they run, but some people were commenting that a marmot had attacked somebody and stuff like that. So always remember to keep your distance from wild animals, even if they stay close like that. They're not pets, so be careful out there.
Yes, especially around those berries. I know up here in Montana, there's a lot of bears, and I don't think I'd want to have a close interaction with any bears up here. So it's always good to carry.
So you can carry your handgun or your rifle if you have a sling and want to take your rifle for a hike. But also you can try the bear spray and stuff like that I recommend. Hopefully you never have to use your handgun, but maybe. And if you're going to carry your handgun, always remember to go to the range and practice with that to keep your skills up to date and you don't forget what you're doing with it.
So back to scouting, have you seen any hopeful signs while you're up there?
So when you're scouting, a lot of what we look for is, of course, tracks, fresh tracks and droppings. We look for areas where there are old rubs from prior seasons. The elk are still in velvet, so they're not really rubbing yet. After the next week or so, we might start seeing them start to rub that off. Seen a little bit of sign. We've seen a lot of deer, and probably because I have an elk tag, that's usually how it works. We've seen tons of great deer. You have some great areas where we found some elk, and we also have other areas that friends have told us about that we're going to go check out as well. So we have more than one location. The archery season is a month-long season, but it flies by. And since this is a limited unit, I really want to optimize the time. So we'll spend probably 4 or 5 days in an area and see how that goes. And then we have plans to be mobile and move our camp if we need to. So we've kind of laid out a pattern of where we'll go and just do our best to try to fill that task.
Awesome. So I know it's been super hot pretty much everywhere. Do you look for watering holes? Is there a lot of water up there? How about, I know the elk love wallers, and so do bears. Are there any signs of that?
It has been super, super hot, but we also started what's called the monsoon season. So it's been raining every afternoon. And up in the high country where we're scouting, it pours. So some of those water holes that when we scouted a few weeks ago were dry, some of those water holes are filling up. So that kind of adds to the location of water holes. When it's dry, you have less of a chance of them going to several water holes, and you can just watch one water. With rain's coming, they're more spread out. And yeah, we found some pretty cool wallers, and we're also in moose country. So we've found a couple swaths of willows that have been mowed down by moose, and we haven't caught a moose yet, as far as seeing one out there. So I'm actually really hopeful for that, because it's always exciting to see the moose in the wild, just get a glimpse of them. Hopefully I can get some pictures or something of them. I was actually wishing that you could come down for the hunt so that you could take pictures, because as you know, Hank and I are terrible about having our cameras out while we're hunting. We always forget. So we'll have to really try this year.
Yes, I wish I could be there. Awesome tags and awesome areas. Who knows? Maybe I will venture down.
We'll see how it goes. Maybe for Labor Day or something, you can join us for a little bit or something like that. That would be super cool if we could get you down to have some of the fun. Well, it sounds like we're really having trouble with your connection, Leah. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show, and we will be back next week. Please, if you're listening, we really want to thank you, but also please leave us a review on iTunes. It really will help our ratings and help other people find the show. And we really want to know what you want to hear, what you would like to learn. And if you have anything that you want to share with us to teach us, we would love to learn whatever we can. You can follow our podcast, Mac Outdoors,
We're under Instagram. It's Mac_outdoors. And then you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, and you can find replays of the podcast on YouTube. Just look for Mac Outdoors. If you want to follow or message Lea, she is Lea_Huntress on Instagram, and that's LEA_Huntress. And of course, you can find Mia on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those crazy social outlets. And it's just Mia and Stein. So until next week, thank you very much. Have a great one. Bye, guys.